And now for the Q&A.
Today's question comes from Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
Ryan says, I have the same story as so many other people. I've struggled with this my whole life. I've lost hundreds of cumulative pounds and gained hundreds back. You see, like you, my problem is not losing weight. My problem is me. One thing I've certainly learned is that willpower is not my problem. I know that because I'm a project manager, currently getting my master's, holding 2 volunteer positions. I have 3 kids, all under the age of 11, and I manage my son's baseball team. So somehow I'm able to keep this going and a somewhat functioning house, and I'm married. There's lots of willpower there, and it's completely useless when I'm 3 months into a diet. I'm doing well, I've lost weight, and I'm in a workout routine. That insidious voice comes back telling me lies, and I eventually listen to them. He says, the one that says, oh, you can have just one, or you've graduated, you're normal now. That voice, which is preceded by a trip or two to different fast food restaurants because I'm too ashamed to order what I really want to order, and so on. So he says, my question to you, Ethan, what tools do you use when that voice comes back? Did you cheat at all? And if so, what does that look like? My most important question, how long did it take before you were able to associate eating and happiness again without that 4,000 calorie meal?
Yeah, this is a great question. Thank you, Ryan. So I think there's a couple parts, but really the one I would focus on is the possibly, I think, and I don't know exactly what he's doing, but he's in the middle of a diet, he's working out, and then it collapses. And so my instinct is to wonder if the structure of that diet and exercise routine is possibly too rigid or too hard or not sustainable. Because really, the moment that everything in my life relaxed was when I stepped off of a path where I was headed towards a result and stepped onto a path where everything was just focused on the path, on the routine, on the process, on the structure of my life. So it was no longer about I need to lose 20 pounds. It was about I need to live in a way that produces results that I want. But this is now my life. So if you're doing something that cannot bear that, right? If it's too low in calories, if it's too extreme in weight loss, if you're feeling too hungry, and you're denying yourself things too often, there is some rigidity to my path. There are guardrails. I don't eat fast food. I really, really don't eat fast food. I mean, in the past 5 years, maybe I've had fast food twice, and that's a very honest answer.
Mm-hmm.
I've probably had pizza 4 times in the last 5 or 6 years. Um, I don't mess around with pasta very often, but if I do, I eat it without fat, and God, pasta without fat sucks. It's not fun, you know. Um, and so like there is some rigidity there, but I'm living my life in a way that I'm not hungry all the time or really ever. I'm fueling myself for my workouts. If I'm going to go into a fat loss phase, it's going to be so mild. Like there's going to be such a long-term approach to weight loss that it's not impossible. My hormones are not getting out of whack. And then even if I'm doing it in such a mellow way, a few months into that, your hormones are going to be a mess just because you have been in a deficit for so long. And then I'm going to let them chill out by doing a maintenance period. And maintenance for me, which took a lot of work in the beginning, is the rest of my life plan. There's no, I lose a certain amount of weight and I'm done. That's when you're focused on the outcome. I'm not focused on the outcome anymore. I'm focused on the process, which, it'd be like going like, I just want to be rich, right? I do not think Warren Buffett just set out to be rich. He figured out something he liked doing. He liked buying companies, and it produced wealth for him. But look, he was so kind of disinterested in wealth. He drove the same car forever, right? He ate fucking McDonald's, I think, for breakfast every day, which so like I don't think that's super healthy, but he wasn't an obese guy, so it wasn't bad for him. You know, he's doing, Warren Buffett's still alive, I think. Yeah, so he's fine, right?
Uh,
Anyway,
yeah.
my point is there are people whose sole purpose is like, I just want to be wealthy. And I would be willing to bet that they don't enjoy it or, you know, and then I'm sure there's like a few people who do, but like when my purpose was just losing weight, it was a struggle and a grind. When my purpose became about changing my life, um, so that I could have the life I wanted, it became much, much easier. And so when I hear about a guy who gets 3 months into a thing and then it collapses because he hits the drive through a few times, before you hit the drive through, do a maintenance period. Fucking increase your calories so that you're not hungry at all. Um, and that shit should chill out. You know, those voices, those demons trying to pull you off of it should chill out. But you got to catch it before. You got to catch it early because I know that once you like step off the path, it's very hard to get back on. And the maintenance stuff should be a part of the path, should be a part of the journey because that's teaching you what the rest of your like. Look, you can keep losing and gaining weight too, but like recognize that that's what you're doing. I believe that the process for long-term maintenance is figuring out maintenance, and maintenance doesn't look like your life prior to dieting. Your life prior to dieting produced obesity, or I don't know how heavy Ryan is, whatever. It produced some situation that was not optimal for you, and so you're working very hard to change that. Well, maybe the entire structure of your life has to change. Maybe the way you eat has to change. And it has to change forever. It's not a short term thing. It's not like I lose 50 pounds and I'm done and I can go back to doing what I was doing. No, maybe you just can't eat fast food anymore. But maybe if you're not hungry, you won't want to, you know? So it might mean a little extra time doing meal prep or a little extra time going to the grocery store. And, you know, that can be hard. It sounds like he has kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And works. He sounds like he's a successful guy in business, and so like yeah, but you got to squeeze it in. If you have time at night to watch TV or to look at your phone, you can go to the grocery store, you can meal prep, and all of those trade offs will become less burdensome over time. But I really do think that the switch over from just focusing on the goal. It'd be like, you know, if you're just going to work every day focused on your paycheck only and you're not putting any kind of focus into the job you're doing, how long can that last? If you're not, you know, if you're not working to do well at your job, you're just working to get a paycheck. That doesn't sound like fun. And I'm sure that that's the situation for a lot of people. A lot of people have jobs that they don't enjoy and they're doing them for a paycheck. And for them, I would say find a way to enjoy it. Find some way to, you know, enjoy it. Clementine, my daughter, her yearbook quote is a quote from Camus, which said, we must imagine that Sisyphus was happy." And it's like the guy did the same thing. His burden was, you know, he was stuck reliving the same day every day. But he like pushes this rock to the top of the mountain every day, right?
Mm.
Imagining him happy is like, okay, well, yeah, he made it to the top every day, and there must be some joy in succeeding at that. Because if we imagine him as being miserable, fuck, that's dark. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But if you can find some way to create joy in the process, um, that's my recommendation. But if you're building up structures that are so hard, if you're working out so hard, if you're dieting so extremely that it's creating in you this need to go eat other stuff, take a fucking break from the diet, but actively work on maintaining your weight. And I
Mhm.
don't think fast food drive-throughs are a part of that calculation, most likely.
Right.
Um, and I don't think that fast food drive-throughs are either good or bad. They're probably very beneficial to Warren Buffett, and they're very detrimental to me. So, it's like, from which side of the road are we viewing them? And from my point of view, it's like they're not good, but I can recognize that Warren Buffett doesn't seem to have a problem with them. And so good for him. Eat your fucking McMuffin, dude, and make all the billions in the world and drive your 40-year-old Buick. And I wish you, happiness.
Yeah.
Um, he clearly likes the process. Um, my life got a million times easier when I started to try to find ways to enjoy the structure of my life that produced an outcome that was desirable.
That's pretty great. I I'm going to take this advice. I feel like this question was for me. Answer rather is for me. So yeah, thank you so much for that question. Let us know how you do with that. Keep us posted. If you have a question for Ethan and you would like him to answer it for you here on the podcast, just email us. It's hello@americanglutton.net.